Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 29 of Walking with Jay. I had to move from my normal stomping grounds because there was too many people over there. And now I'm just out and about. The lovely city of St. George, Utah. Episode 29, Walking with Jay. What do we got going tonight? Well, what have I been doing today? The last thing I was doing was I was going back through some of my journals, and it happened to be that they were journals from just about this time last year. I was actually preparing for a speech that I was giving at a recovery conference for Southwest Behavioral Health Center. I was doing a keynote speech there, and so I was reading through my journal today because I'm trying to go back and see where I was at this time last year and see how far I've come in my recovery in 1 year. Very interesting to read. And so what I've been doing, what I'm kind of committed to doing is taking all of my journals that are in various places in my house and combining them into one journal on the computer so that I can, have it all consolidated, because I have notebooks all over the place with different journal entries in them. And those different journal entries chronicle my life and they chronicle my recovery. So what I'm trying to do is get that all in one central location so that I can use it as a resource to start writing more and start communicating outside of just my own journal, but to start communicating my thoughts and my ideas with y'all and anyone who will listen to me. Well, I'm out here walking. I already went on a 30+ minute walk at work today with one of my clients, members of the clubhouse. And so today, this is just gravy for me. This is extra. So I am gonna walk for at least 30 minutes tonight, just for fun, but I'm toying with the idea of taking these Walking with Jay and consolidating them down to about 5 minutes. So maybe they're a little more watchable for folks in this hectic pace that we live in. So maybe plus that'll give me editing practice. Now that I'm thinking of it, I've started using Adobe Premiere, started trying to learn how to use that, and it's kind of neat because with that Adobe Premiere I can do editing, I can do some titles, I can do a lot of different things. And I just started using it and I want to get more skillful at using it. Because as I was brainstorming today about the different forms of communication that I want to be good at. And one of them is filmmaking. I do want to at some point be a documentary filmmaker. And guess what? To a certain extent, what I'm doing here with just my iPhone and a selfie stick is documenting something. I don't know exactly what it is, but I think it's documenting my journey to health and wellness. Maybe if I keep at it, it'll be documenting that. So filmmaking is something that I've had an interest in since I was just a young lad. Spent a lot of summers trying to dream about being a filmmaker and working with my friends to make movies. We made a couple of Super 8 movies, but never did make the big time. So really interested in documentary filmmaking. I like watching documentaries. So who knows? That's one form of communication. I'm also an artist, so I like drawing, and I haven't got into painting much, but I do like drawing, and so I want to get better at drawing. I want to get way better at writing. So I'm just trying to wrap my mind around how to practice writing, what projects I want to work on to become a better writer, and what else. Oh, I don't know. See, it's already been 5 minutes here, and if I cut off now, I don't know if there's any value, because I haven't even been able to pull anything out of the old dome yet. So look at me, I'm still walking. What did I say, episode 29 here? I forgot already. But man, I just want to keep walking, and so I think it'd be neat to see my progress over a year or 2 years, and see if I can't drop some weight and those type of things. So walking by the high school tonight. So what other forms of communication do I use? I use music as a form of communication. I share my thoughts and my ideas through music. So I guess I'm kind of an artist at heart, and I like to communicate, but I like to communicate in different ways. So one day, if and that goes back to the jack of all trades or the master of. Do you seek for mastery, or do you seek to be pretty good at a bunch of different things? Well, I don't know. For me, it's been try to be a jack of all trades a little bit, but not all trades. I mean, I'm not an auto mechanic by any stretch of the imagination. I'll leave that to guys like Mark Glockner, and even my brother Matt. He's a musician and an artist, and he does graphic design stuff, but he's not afraid of an automobile. He'll change the engine out in his vehicle, so there you go. Anyway, I'm just kind of babbling tonight. Not sure what I'm going to do with this one. Am I going to edit it? I don't know if I'll have time for it tonight. I don't know. So yeah, so I do want to get better. I want to be better at even these Walking with Jays. I want to become better at sharing my thoughts in a logical and coherent way. But at the same time, so we talked today at club about the two sides of the, not two sides of the mind, but basically it's difficult to create something and to edit something at the same time. And we did a little experiment on that to show that point. And the experiment was, the first thing you did was, we just asked a question like, what is a story? And then I gave everybody 5 minutes to just do the hot pen technique and just write everything that they could about what is a story. No filtering, don't worry about spelling, don't worry about grammar, don't worry about your penmanship, just write. And so that represents the creative side of it. And then after that, I gave people 5 minutes, and the exercise for that, and I forget the question, let me think. It was who the greatest writers are. Who are the greatest writers or storytellers? Who are the greatest storytellers? And this time, though, I gave them the directions that they were supposed to write perfectly. They were supposed to be ready to share it with an audience right afterwards. They were going to have someone else read it, and they needed to be absolutely perfect with their execution on it. Their paragraphs need to make sense. The spelling needed to be correct, and all of these things. And so, and as we were doing that 5 minutes, I was also interjecting, saying, are you sure that's what you meant? If it's not what you meant, make sure you scratch it out. And so I was giving a lot of the editor side to it, and just to and people were only able to write half as much as they did the first time, some of a third as much. And Very interesting though. Very interesting that we can't create and edit at the same time. Both processes are necessary if you're creating art. I mean, you got to create, and then you have to be able to come back and revise and edit and stuff like that. So I talked to Stacy a little today about editing some of the writing that I'll be doing, and she seems down with that, so that's a good thing. She's a very smart lady and she has a very good eye for grammar and syntax and all of that stuff. So excited about having her help me out with my writing, because it takes teamwork to make the dream work. So there you have that. What else? So yeah, what am I talking about? Just writing, being creative, communicating and stuff like that. I did a Facebook Live video today right after I got home from work, and I just shared kind of the story about how I wrote the song Johnny when I was 15, 16 years old, 16 I think. And so that was kind of a fun experience. It's always fun to do Facebook Live, and then people get to, the 2 or 3 people who chime in get to leave remarks as you're playing and stuff, and so it's nice to have that real-time feedback. Yeah, so there's that. What else? I don't know. I'm just working, man. I'm just busting. I'm trying to get better at communicating my journey. The first things first, though, is I got to live a journey. You know, first things first is I got to have a story to tell. Because if I don't have a story to tell, then it doesn't matter how good of a storyteller I am. So, first things first, what I really am working on is having that story to tell. And for me, it's got to be something compelling for myself. That's why I'm working on my recovery so hard right now. I'm really working on, now the focus I think right now is the physical part of my journey. I've spent the last couple of years working on my mental health recovery, and I'm doing pretty good with that. I think I'm in a place where I feel pretty solid with that. Knock on wood, thank you, Jesus. You know, there's always that fear that it could happen again, because it's really unpredictable when a manic episode hits. But I've worked pretty hard in the last 2 years to recover from that. And so I'm so thankful to my friends and family members who have given me support in that process. And right now my focus is really on the physical fitness side of things. So as I am and the biggest part right now that I'm working on is the diet. I'm using the Atkins diet kind of as a pivot to get out of the old way that I was dieting, or not dieting, my old eating patterns of eating as much of whatever I wanted at any time, and just really, just really going hog wild, you know. So I don't want to do that anymore. I know that for me, weight loss and nutrition go hand in hand, and so I'm really hoping to get my nutrition dialed in. Like I said, I'm using Atkins, and I'm not even doing that religiously because I don't really know the Atkins program too well, but I do know that you cut all the grains out, you cut all the only carbohydrates you try to get are I'm getting fat. Just kidding. I'm getting out of breath is what I meant. I am fat, therefore I'm out of breath. So, yeah, and I've talked about this before, so it's just the same old chatter. But trying to get, where am I at? I don't even know where I'm at. I'm lost, ladies and gentlemen. Trying to make it so that I don't have any carbs, so I just get it through vegetables. And that is the direction that I want to go in. So I want to use that as a pivot point to dial more into lean meats rather than, well, this is kind of a cool little track. I didn't know this one was up here. Huh, you learn something new when you get kicked off of your regular track. I can walk around this all night. There's no reason to stop now. There's no reason to stop at 20 minutes. I'm gonna keep going. Especially if I can edit some of this later. What do I think? All right. So, where am I at? Okay. So, my thinking now, as I'm trying to pull my blood sugar down, and it's down to 105 this morning, after being at 106 for 2 days, and then 108 for 2 days before that. Found out today that that's, if my source is right, WebMD, that's all within the normal range for fasting blood sugar. So I'm happy about that. Still not what I want, because I want to get down under 100 every morning. And that's my goal. That's my dream, because I want to work on getting off of my diabetes medication, the metformin that I'm on. Okay, so yeah. So I'm gonna work, right now I'm still eating a lot of red meat and cheese and stuff like that. I do plan on working towards more to lean meat and less meat overall, more vegetables. Probably working towards some things like nuts and beans. I know you can't have beans or legumes at the beginning of your Atkins diet, so kind of staying away from that. Anyway, yeah, just thinking it out, just learning some stuff. Had some cinnamon with decaffeinated green tea today, which is very interesting, because I've read that, and some of my Facebook friends have let me know that it was Don Mangum who let me know this stuff too, and Stacy Locke, I believe, who let me know that I should try the cinnamon and the apple cider vinegar. So I'm going to start experimenting with those two items a little bit and see if I can't bring my blood sugar under 100. So then go to more lean meats, nuts, legumes, vegetables, far fewer red meats and things like that, because I also need to get my cholesterol under control. And I don't want to have a heart attack. I don't want to have my legs amputated. I don't want to have any of those things. So I'm trying to get fit. And so I've talked before that it really is not about vanity, because I don't really care what I look like. What I do care about, you know, I'm going to take that back. I do kind of care about what I look like, because when I look back on these videos, it does make me a little uncomfortable thinking that I just don't look healthy, number one, but yeah, I'm not sure if I'm worried about what other people might think of me or anything like that, but it's all part of the journey. It really is kind of just all part of the journey. So, yeah, so I do care what I look like a little bit. It's hard to buy clothes when you're this big. It's hard to, and then there's just the functional part of it, you know. It's hard to get in and out of vehicles when you're this big. It's hard to just, my range of motion is just so poor right now. So anything that you can imagine that requires range of motion, and it just is very difficult for me. So this is a nice little track. There's some gnats up here though. There weren't gnats down there at my old track that those people stole from me. So hey, I'll give it to them, you know. It's not just my track. And the thing is, you got to be adaptable, ladies and gentlemen. If one plan doesn't work out, you got to go to another plan. You got to try have plan B. I'm not really a good planner. I've talked about that before, but so anyway, I'm just kind of brainstorming what I'm going through dietarily, since physical fitness is kind of what I'm looking at right now. and just one thing at a time. Because when I try to change it all up at the same time, it gets overwhelming. And so I'm still walking. Hey, you know that, you've been with me, you know that I'm walking. So maybe that is a reason to keep them long form, just to keep myself honest, you know. I come out here and do a 5-minute video and then head back home. So this is pretty good, 20 minutes. I should start heading home though, so I can get, if I am going to do some editing, I'd like to do this. So let's see if I have some sound bites for this. You can do it. Whatever you set your mind to, you can do it. Sound bite. There are always going to be things getting in your way. The question is, do you let them stay in your way? Or do you go above them? Do you go around them? Do you dig underneath them? Or do you stop? What do you do? I don't know. That's a dumb soundbite. I didn't like that one. Let's see, what else? What do you want to do with your life? It's up to you. Nah. You know, I don't know what I want to do with my life, really. I just want to get through today, get it done, get this walk done, start heading home here in a second. It's been a great walk. Great walking with Jay. I know very few people watch these extended versions at this point, so I'm pretty free to say whatever is on my mind, and I don't have to have everything all perfect and stuff like that. And so I will probably work on it to try to edit it into content that is, I don't know if it's even possible. I'll look at it tonight, see if I can practice doing some editing. And so you guys are awesome. Look, I look up to you. I really do look up to you. This is fun. Tomorrow night I'm stoked. I get to walk with my good old buddy Lee Ballou again. And those are always good times. Well, the last 2 times we've done it. Hopefully we can pull off the trifecta tonight or tomorrow night, and it'll be great times. Fun was had by all. Hopefully we'll be able to say that at the end of that. Anyway, so what am I doing? Hey, one step at a time till I arrive someday. Anyway, any more sound bites? Let's see. I think you got to know what you want to do with your life, and then just do it. Figure out what it takes to do it. For me, I knew what it took to get those blood sugar numbers down to 105, right? I knew that. I was up in the 150s. I knew what it took instinctively. I'm sure, you know, I had heard it from various sources, but by this stage of my life, I know what I'm supposed to be doing in order to drop the blood sugars. So, I don't know, just rambling. I'm gonna be done. I love you guys. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for walking with Jay. Talk to you soon. Bye.